a new track, a fresh melody, you press play. The beat drops, you rewind, you play it again and again and again. 3 days pass, 400 loops. Your ears ring, your head spins. You devour the sound. You cannot stop. You click, you repeat, you consume until you feel completely sick. You think you like it. You think you choose this. But is this raw biological mechanism, this neurological anchor, actually hijacking your exhausted brain, caning your soul to a relentless, echoing rhythm? I know that feeling. The emptiness hits when the screen goes dark. You stare at those absurd streaming statistics, and a heavy wave of intense shame washes over your rational mind. Deep self-disgust. Bitter regret. Your prefrontal cortex tries to intervene, desperately begging you to explore new playlists and expand your cultural horizons. Total paralysis. Silent despair. You watch yourself ruin a perfectly good melody by grinding it down into meaningless, repetitive noise. Brutal EMP-tiveness. Utter failure. You judge your own repetitive behavior, wondering why you cannot just experience the world normally like everyone else. Endless shame. Quiet suffering. Friends glance at your bizarre listening history, and their confused reactions only amplify that gnawing sense of weirdness. Complete isolation. Profound inadequacy. You feel like an erratic machine trapped in an endless loop of its own obsessive, uncontrollable making. Mental fatigue. Absolute helplessness. The rational part of your brain weeps, fully aware that you are actively eroding the magic of a song until absolutely nothing remains. Lingering guilty. Soul-crushing EMPTness. You question your own sanity, fearing that this obsessive consumption is a glaring symptom of an addictive, severely flawed personality. Social humiliation, silent age humiliation. That heavy silence crashes down. You realize you just wasted another beautiful piece of musical art. Dark VID, complete failures. But before you continue to punish yourself, listen to this. Because the modern world demands an excruciating amount of mental energy just to survive an ordinary Tuesday. You wake up, you navigate dense traffic, you endure 8 to 10 hours of relentless corporate demands, you filter through pointless emails, and your prefrontal cortex is constantly burning precious glucose to keep you functioning as a civilized adult. Think of his cognitive burden like driving a fragile car straight into a violent, blinding thunderstorm on a chaotic midnight highway. The windshield wipers are thrashing frantically at their absolute maximum speed. The broken radio is continuously buzzing with aggressive static noise. The restless children are relentlessly screaming from the cramped back seat, and you must somehow squint through the heavy rain to decipher a faded warning sign. Total collapse. Your rational brain, the sophisticated CEO of your conscious awareness, is fundamentally exhausted. This exact phenomenon is scientifically known as ego depletion, a literal metabolic drain where your neural circuitry simply runs out of biological fuel to make even one more minor choice. Every single email you answered, every fake smile you maintain, every impulse you suppress today has mercilessly drained your cognitive battery. By the time evening arrives, your battered mind cannot process the overwhelming unpredictability of a brand new playlist. A new song requires active listening. It demands heavy cognitive processing. It forces your weary neurons to map out unpredictable melodies and unfamiliar rhythms. Your brain is suffocating under the crushing weight of 1,000 micro-decisions, desperately begging for a moment of predictable safety. You are not ruining a good piece of music. You are instinctively wrapping your fractured nervous system in a heady, protective sonic blanket. This repetitive listening is actually a recognized psychological state called musical hyperfixation, a brilliant evolutionary strategy designed to minimize cognitive load when your energy is completely depleted. The invisible pressure of simply existing in this loud, demanding society is actively crushing your fragile mental bandwidth into pure dust. So you strategically retreat to the exact same audio frequency over and over again because it demands absolutely zero active processing from your battered prefrontal cortex. It is a calculated sanctuary of familiar sound in a hostile environment that never stops demanding your divided attention. When the conscious driver finally crumbles and completely gives out on the heavy steering wheel, the desperate brain is forcefully compelled to call in a silent, primitive stunt double to instantly take over the chaotic ride. That silent stunt double is already intimately familiar to you. You have undeniably felt its cold mechanical presence before. You back your car out of the driveway early in the morning, navigate effortlessly through 3 busy intersections, and suddenly a chilling panic hits you. You desperately ask yourself if you actually remembered to press the remote to close the garage door. Or perhaps you have driven 15 straight miles down a monotonous gray highway, blanking out, absolutely unable to recall a single vehicle you just passed or the exits you ignored. You experience a sudden terrifying shudder, realizing you were essentially living as a temporary amnesic, a hollow shell moving blindly through physical space. So, who exactly was operating that heavy, speeding metal machine while your conscious mind was entirely absent? Pause and reflect. The bullsal ganglia, this ancient primitive structure buried deep within the core of your brain, acts as an incredibly efficient, unfeeling bleem butler. It quietly observes your daily repetitive routines and silently takes over the tedious manual labor of your existence. In the realm of neuroscience, this fascinating and slightly unsettling process is called chunking. It seamlessly bundles a highly complex sequence of physical actions, checking the mirrors, adjusting the speed, shifting the gears into a single effortless master script of pure muscle memory. You no longer have to actively think about steering or braking because the UN conscious has completely swallowed the entire driving process whole. Now bring this exact same biological mechanism back to your obsessive repetitive musical habits. When you press play on that exact same track for the 400th time, you are no longer truly listening to a piece of art. You are activating a deeply ingrained neurological routine. The rising melody, the heavy beat drop, the specific emotional lyrics, they have all been masterfully chunked into a single, highly predictable neural script. Your exhausted prefrontal cortex simply hands the heavy cognitive reins directly over to the basal ganglia, allowing your weary mind to emotionally coast on pure autopilot. You know exactly what audio frequency is coming next, down to the very millisecond, and that absolute unwavering predictability is deeply, profoundly comforting to a fractured nervous system. You willingly surrender your awareness to the same dictator, letting the looping rhythm drive your emotional state while your conscious mind safely and quietly checks out of reality. This utopia is flawless. But for this unconscious machine to actually get addicted to something, it needs a kind of kindling. That kindling is dopamine, the most misunderstood chemical in your entire biological system. You firmly believe that dopamine is the ultimate reward molecule, the joyful prize your brain receives when you finally experience a beautiful piece of art. Is that the truth? Absolutely not. It is a complete illusion. Dopamine is not about the actual reward itself. It is strictly about the intense, agonizing anticipation of the reward. It is the raw chemical of pure craving. Think about your slightly ridiculous behavior in the kitchen. You stand up, walk across the room, and open that refrigerator door for the 5th time today. You already know exactly what is sitting on those cold shelves. There's only half a carton of old milk and a few sad eggs. You are not looking for sustenance, but your brain ruthlessly whispers that maybe something magical has suddenly appeared. Are you genuinely hungry? Not. You were just desperately feeding a bottomless hunger. You experience this exact same pathetic phenomenon when you anxiously refresh your empty work inbox on a perfectly quiet Sunday night, or when you blindly swipe your phone screen praying for a meaningless notification. You are essentially opening that empty fridge over and over again, chasing a ghost. This is scientifically known as a reward prediction error. When physical reality perfectly matches your exact neurological expectation, your brain receives a deeply soothing chemical drip. But when you compulsively loop that same song, you are artificially hacking this delicate system. You know the sweeping course is coming at exactly 1 minute and 12 seconds. Your brain aggressively builds up the heavy dopamine anticipation, and when the loud beat drops right on cue, it confirms your internal prediction flawlessly. Does this actually bring you profound artistic joy? Pure dextripsin. You are merely obeying a primal biological craving for absolute unwavering certainty in an incredibly unpredictable world. You are aggressively feeding an endless delusion. Every single time you hit that replay button, you are meticulously pouring fuel onto a raging fire of expectation. You are no longer searching for musical enlightenment or emotional depth. You are simply scratching a deep, relentless neurological itch that refuses to fade away. You are completely trapped in a hollow mechanical cycle of anticipating an emotional high that your nervous system has already memorized perfectly. Your profoundly exhausted mind desperately craves the comforting, steady validation of knowing exactly what is going to happen next in the audio track. You watch your own tired finger aggressively press that replay button yet again, and you silently witness your own emotional stagnation. You deeply despise this endless loop, and you truly think your brain is fundamentally broken? You are wrong. This repetitive behavior is absolutely not a bug. It is actually a highly sophisticated advanced feature. Your ancient nervous system is actively protecting you. You are experiencing a necessary primal phrases of response. The demanding modern world is a relentless predator. Your weary brain cannot fight this invisible threat. Therefore, it instinctively chooses to freeze in place. This sonic repetition builds a temporary safe shelter. You safely hide inside this predictable rhythmic cave. This action is a pure evolutionary survival mechanism. Your primal ancestors survived by recognizing familiar patterns. Extreme unpredictability always meant terrible danger in nature. Total predictability always meant absolute safety and survival. That looped track is your modern protective campfire. It actively keeps the terrifying unknown darkness away. You're certainly not broken or culturally stagnant. Your biology is executing a flawless master defense strategy. You are successfully surviving an overwhelming sensory avalanche. This endless repetition anchors your chaotic internal state. Your fragile consciousness demands a desperate moment of peace. This reliable auditory loop provides that exact peace. Your resilient brain is performing an incredible rescue mission. You must never curse this vital primal instinct. It actively stops your psychological structure from collapsing. Your battered mind is healing itself through sound. This behavior is a beautiful act of self-preservation. Mother Nature designed this superior coping mechanism perfectly. The predictable melody acts as an unbreakable shield. It deflects the exhausting demands of daily survival. Your deep exhaustion triggers this brilliant biological shutdown. It gently forces you into a deep state of hibernation. You are quietly resting within the heavy walls of sound. No new information can breach this auditory fortress. Your mental energy is slowly regenerating in peace. This is a testament to human evolutionary brilliance. You are witnessing a profound neurological masterpiece unfold. The song is a perfectly engineered sensory anchor. It actively stops you from drifting into utter madness. You should marvel at this incredible internal design. Your physical body instinctively knows exactly how to survive. It stubbornly demands repetition to create a stable reality. Do not fight this ancient neuropreservation tactic. Fully embrace the profound wisdom of your own biology. You are operating exactly as nature originally intended. This endless loop is your ultimate sanctuary of sanity. You are totally safe inside this deeply familiar echo. So let the music play and allow that intimately familiar rhythm to wash over your profoundly exhausted spirit, gently sweeping away the heavy layers of guilt that you have carried on your shoulders for far too long. When you finally begin to understand the silent, desperate struggles of your inner world, the relentless and agonizing self-punishment will slowly dissolve into the background, leaving behind a beautifully vast and quiet space of profound acceptance, where you will clearly see that you are vastly greater and more infinite than these tired, mechanical loops of survival. You do not ever need to aggressively fight the natural current of your mind or forcefully compel your weary awareness to consume something unfamiliar and overwhelming. Because true, lasting healing only truly begins when you can simply observe your own profound need for comfort, quietly watching it unfold without casting any harsh or cruel judgment upon your own fragile humanity. If your terribly tired soul desperately needs to hear that exact same sweeping chorus for the 47th time today just to feel a fleeting, desperately needed sense of foundational safety, you must give yourself the absolute grace and permission to fully embrace that gentle, rhythmic repetition, letting it gracefully become a soft, unbreakable anchor in an otherwise chaotic and entirely unpredictable sea of modern existence. It is in this profound, sacred stillness, sitting quietly amidst the entirely predictable and soothing echoes of a single beautiful melody, that you can slowly and carefully begin to rebuild your shattered internal peace. Realizing with immense clarity that this repetitive behavior is absolutely not a broken flaw to be violently fixed, but rather a delicate, beautiful request for a momentary pause from a loud world that simply demands entirely too much of your energy. As you sink deeper into the comforting embrace of the familiar sound, the invisible chains of societal expectation will slowly melt away, allowing your authentic self to breathe deeply and freely in the sanctuary of your own making, where every single repeated note acts as a gentle, reassuring whisper telling you that it is perfectly okay to just stand still for a little while. This beautiful surrender is not an act of defeat, but a profound and deeply wise act of self-compassion, a quiet rebellion against the endless pressure to always be moving forward, reminding you that sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to simply stay exactly where you are, wrapped in the warmth of a song that knows exactly how to hold you when you are too tired to hold yourself. What single melody is currently resting in a beautiful, endless echo inside your tired mind at this very moment? Leave it below, in the quiet space. Let it be safely seen, and if you feel ready to gently uncover the quiet truths buried deep within your own complex biology, simply stay right here, safely with me, on this continuing path into the profound depths of our shared consciousness. We will walk together. I will patiently wait to meet you again to the very next level of pure awareness.